Hi guys, good morning. Today is Monday morning, 7 a.m., December 23rd. Oh, Malachi. Hi, thank you for being here. What time is it for you? Oh, you're up doing holy things, I know. Hi, Ray. Hi, Betty. Boker Tov. Boker Or. Today is Monday, December 23rd, 2024, and we are smack in the middle of the greatest story Hashem ever told. Hi, Sydney. I love getting the updates from you, Malachi. Thank you for sending me those in real time. It's Geula in real time, and I so appreciate them. You have no idea. Hi, Irma. Hi, Irma. Hi, Karina. Good morning, everybody. So today's title is The Flying Letters, and I looked ahead last week. I never look ahead when we read Sefer Chanoch together. I just always, we read it once already. I'm basically familiar with it, and I just go with it. And for some reason, Hashem had me look ahead. And just wait, you guys, till you hear what this chapter we're going to read at the end. I'm going to save it for the end, and how it's going to tie everything together so beautifully. I'm going to read it in Hebrew today, which I never do, because it's so perfect and so holy. I want to start with Torah Shel Mashiach. Hi, Chase. Hi, Michael. Hi, Stephen. I want to start with reading together Torah Shel Mashiach. I want to read a small thing from Rabbi Gozlan, his playlist on Mashiach and the land of Israel is his topic. And then we're going to watch a small clip from one of my interviews from Rabbeinu. And then we're going to read inside Sefer Chanoch. It's going to be amazing. Okay, let's go, you guys. Just want to get my brain organized here, how I want to do this. Okay. Yesterday, I had an amazing epiphany come in that I want to talk about as an aside. Unbelievable epiphany. A real breakthrough for me. And I want to share it with you. It started with this girl texting me, barraging me, boom, 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 boom. All about Reb Yirah. Why isn't he this? Why is he this, and that? He doesn't fit this on the checklist. He doesn't fit that on the checklist. And I'm used to it. I've been through this a few times with people already. And I just let them say what they need to say. I stand in my certainty and my confidence and my knowing. Try not to get triggered. Try to stay out of my own forms. Try to observe their forms. Their fear. It's mostly fear. The undercurrent of what people come at me with is fear, a fear vibe. They're afraid. So I just try to witness the fear and not let them hook into my fear. The hardest thing hearing was this person said to me, "You are responsible for everybody that you are misleading." I was like, ooh, she knew how to get me with that one. She knew how to go for like the gut. And I didn't say this to her, but I said to myself, we're learning Torah. We're learning a new dimension of Torah that's never been revealed before it. And I said to myself, everybody is a grown-up here. You know what I mean? If this is not for you, if this starts not feeling right for you, please don't stay. It's okay to go. It's okay to come and go. Come and go. I remember I went into the Yirah chat for a few days and I was like, what is happening? I went out for a few days and I came back in. And I've been there ever since. Because sometimes you got to get your bearings and your footing. It's okay. But I saw the fear and I saw her coming at me with three-dimensional arguments, like from the 3D fear world. Like it was reminiscent of the times of masks and vaccines. It just was so similar, coming at me with everything in the box, proofs. You need proof. You need to show me that the masks are not effective. You need to show me that the vax is not effective. I was like, you couldn't speak to those people because it was a different wavelength. They're speaking here, I'm speaking here, we're missing each other completely. They weren't hearing me. And I understood the ineffectiveness of those conversations. After many attempts at engaging with them, I understood we're speaking English, but we're speaking two different languages. They're coming at me with fear, and I'm sitting here in total trust. And it's not gonna, it's a mismatch. So I didn't engage with this woman yesterday, and she literally sent me inside every text was a red flag emoji. Literally, she put the red flag in every single text, and I'm thinking, you don't have to put the red flag in every single text. I get it. So at first she was verstering my day a little bit. My son got engaged yesterday, and it was such a wonderful day. And then I realized the gift inside that Hashem was giving me. The realization that if you don't study Zohar, you're not going to understand who Mashiach is, period. That was it, you guys. That was the realization. If you don't have Zohar, the neshama of Torah, you're not going to understand who Mashiach is. You're not going to understand many, many things that Rabbi Gozlan has taught me. And I credit Rabbi Gozlan 100%, his teachings, 100% for my ability to recognize Mashiach when I saw him. He taught me about the bris eish, how his body will look and how his neshama will be. He gave us the gift of Rav Kaduri's nevuah about the 3 phases. He helped me and my own brain and my own heart to get off the rigidity of Judaism, so rigid, so inflexible. The Rambam says it has to be like this. This one says it has to be like this. And we're not budging from this. And oh my goodness. What I see inside people is fear, terror, when they say those things to me. And then I was discussing this with Garment. I left him a voice note. I said, Garment, I realized something. I realized that the Zohar gives us the parameters of what to look for in Mashiach. The context, the description, and if you don't have this, you won't get it. You just won't get it. And I thank Hashem so much for opening my heart to Zohar, so I could perceive the Mashiach, and so I could perceive him. What did I say to Garment? Garment said something back to me amazing. Garment said, this is exactly why when I talk to people, I always start out with asking them if they study Zohar. If you don't have Zohar, you don't understand. That the Beis Hamikdash is going to be different than we expect. That Mashiach is going to be different than we expect. Then the land of Israel is different than we expect. The definition of what is a Jew is different than we thought. There's so many things that we have to expand the definitions of that Hashem wrote about in the Zohar. You know what? Let's go to that first. Let me read something to you first, actually. This was an article by Danny Antman, June 14th, 2014, The Sacred Letters of the Hebrew Alphabet. When the Holy One, blessed be He, wished to fashion the world, all the letters were hidden away. Before creation, the letters were concealed within the divine mind and arranged in reverse order. For 2,000 years before creating the world, the Blessed Holy One contemplated the letters and played with them. The letters were Hashem's best friend for 2,000 years. It was Hashem and the letters. You don't think He's going to rectify reality with these same letters? You don't think He's going to send us somebody who's going to explain to us the letters? And these are Zohar thoughts. If you don't have them, you're going to miss the boat. It's all about the letters. It's all about the letters. I'm going to read you something. Shlach lecha. Okay, Shlach lecha in the Zohar 288. The beginning is missing. Listen carefully, you guys, to every word. These letters, all these letters that were the companions of Hashem for 2,000 years before the world existed, these letters never rest. They stand out and sparkle externally and rise and descend. No one can understand anything about them. I'm going to read that again. No one could understand anything about them except for the Mashiach, and with great toil. This one sentence is everything. I'm going to read it in the Aramaic. V'salke v'nachte le man diyachel l'kaima b'hu bar Mashiach b'torach sagi. Bar Mashiach b'torach sagi. Okay, guys, that is huge. Okay, the Zohar is telling you only the Mashiach is going to be able to explain to you the letters. And with great toil. Do you know how much this man toils? He lives in poverty. All he does is dedicate himself over and over to explaining this amazing download he received in the desert. Imagine carrying a download with you that you have to transmit to the world. And all you can do is just keep explaining it over and over and over to a world that has no idea what you're talking about until they do. Until you break through the thick-headed consciousness that's out here. When I interviewed Rabbeinu, I had no idea what he was talking about. Literally sat there, listened, and I looked back and I'm like, oh my God, I really had no idea what he was saying. And now I begin to know. Let me show you that interview. I'm going to play for you 5 minutes of this second interview that I did with Rabbi Yirah and with Garment. And listen carefully to what he is teaching humanity with the letters. Let me just show you real quick. I have the second book of Rabbi Yirah, and on the cover is what he has named the crown jewel. Look at this. Have you ever seen this before in your life? The Aleph Beis in relationship to each other and how they play off each other. He's explaining the Aleph Beis to us and how they bring meaning to each other. He calls them, listen carefully in the video, he calls them hieroglyphics that carry meaning. Hieroglyphics, you guys, that carry meaning. And the nekudos make them phonetic. That concept alone should rock your world. And Aleph calls them sockets. I love that word, Aleph. I love that word, sockets. He put the Aleph Beis in their proper sockets in relationship to each other so we could make them make sense to each other. Okay, so let's watch this clip together. Yes, Des, the Zohar is the truth and the life, 100%. 100%. Oh, we have Benny here. The lights and vessels, milk and meat, 100%. Okay, so let's watch 5 minutes together of this interview from a few months ago. Let me share the screen.
Backwards. So if it's true, it can't just be forwards. Air, house, water. It has to go backwards. Water, house, air. So does the water house the air? We can see that like in the word bubble. Letter B in the word bubble means water houses air. So we can then take it as letter B, for example, as we did by itself, box, bag, so on and so forth. We can do it with Aleph by itself, like the word balloon, which would mean to house air. But let's take the letter B and apply it with the water right there, right? And we're looking at it from the phonetic structure. You can see what I call mother lettered, because essentially the lungs, lips, and tongue are how every other sound are pronounced. And you can't pronounce any sound without one of these three faculties or a combination of those faculties. So we'll take letter B and water. So for example, the word body in English. So the letter B in the word body teaches us what? It teaches us that the body is made out of water. And this is a scientific fact. So when I blink, what am I doing? Putting water on my eye. When I give birth, what breaks? Water. A baby, letter B tells me, housed in water. Breasts, same thing, produces water. So the brain, even the word blood, air houses water because the blood has to be oxygenated. And so what we begin to see is that the letters don't only just have fixed placements, but these fixed placements reveal the very essence and nature of existence itself. And
did you guys hear that? That sentence, I have to go back. We got to listen to that sentence one more time.
placements reveal the very essence and nature of existence itself. Any sound without one of these three faculties or a combination of those faculties. So we'll take letter B as water because the blood has to be oxygenated. And so what we begin to see is that the letters don't only just have fixed placements, but these fixed placements reveal the very essence and nature of existence itself.
These letters reveal, the fixed placements of these letters reveal the very essence of nature in reality itself.
And so when we continue with that type of an idea, then we can bring in deeper levels. So for example, I'll give you another example. So for example, like the letter kaf, right here's over here with side with shin. So if you try to make the sound of kaf, ka, or which would be C in English, ka, you'll notice that you cannot make it without your tongue. Right? And so we can see it, for example, we see it between shin and mem. So shin, which means fire, has one of two sounds, like an S, and it also has a sh sound, as we know in Hebrew. So in S, we can see it like in English, as meaning fire, like the word sword, which tells us what? That it was forged in the fire. What about the word sun? The word sun, which means the ball of fire. Seasons or summer, because summer is the hottest month, because it's coming from fire. Now, it has another sound, SH, shin. So this is a covering for the light. And we can see that sound, a covering for the light, which is SH. So if you go anywhere in the world and say, shh, right? It's covering, being like quiet. Or like sheath, right? Or shorts, shirt, shade, right? So all of these words. So we can thus derive from letter C in between these, and using the same hieroglyphics symbols that I was referring to earlier that we learned with air, house, water. We can see a covering of light upon solids. Covering of light upon solids. So then we can look at words like Kohen, a Kohen, high priest, or a priest. What does a priest deal with, Kohen? Covering of light on solids, he should burn offering. Burn offering. But let's take a look at it. For example, we can see it in the phonetic structure of the word color. The letter C in the word color teaches us what? It's a covering of light on solids. So then ask the question, is color a covering of light on solids? Okay, then look at the word camera. If I have a camera, what does a camera do? Captures light on solids. So I could be a caveman living off somewhere and never having exposure to humanity. If someone said, what is a camera? I could tell it's to capture covering of light on solids. And the same thing we can see with crayon. Again, covering of light on solids. So on and so forth. And so the general idea behind the letters as at the highest level is that they all have a fixed position. And the fixed position of the letters have to deal with the phonetic structures. And these phonetic structures then in turn hint to hidden laws about how to navigate them. And then they have higher levels of interaction. So that's the first level, and we'll move into a different level of Elon. The next level is the concept of the Sim-Suma restriction. Are you familiar with the restriction?
Can I ask you before we move on?
Sure.
How is it that the English language fits so seamlessly with the Hebrew letters?
So at the highest level, the Shona Chodesh is actually not phonetic at all. In fact, as we know, the Hebrew language cannot actually be pronounced without nikud, because the nikud are the vowels. And so there's a reason for this. The Zohar tells us that what separates Israel from all the other nations is that they were given a script. And so then therefore this script is what separates it. So the Torah was not passed down through oral tradition, meaning that it's not something that's memorized, because it's not something that could be phonetically transferred, but rather it was written down. And there's a great reason behind that, because at the highest level, every one of the Hebrew letters represents symbols. And so I gave an example similar to a hieroglyphic, where a hieroglyphic essentially is a character that has a symbolic meaning. The Hebrew letters, so too, are characters or glyphs that have a particular meaning. And their arrangements, when you analyze the meanings in their arrangements, they reveal secrets about reality. And so with that understanding, then we should see that when you understand them as symbolic or like representing ideas, then we can see them as information. And so then at the highest level, this is the background information behind every single language. And in fact, it goes and transcends every other language. So for example, like the letter Nun.
Okay, guys, go back and watch that again and again. That will really show you the essence from the Zohar that we just read together, that the only one who's going to explain to us the context of the Aleph Beis is the Mashiach, and with great toil. And if you didn't know that from the Zohar, which I didn't know that from the Zohar when I did that interview. So I'm sitting there like a deer in headlights. Like, what is he saying? Looking back now, I understand he's explaining to us the context of the Aleph Beis and what each letter, how it's a hieroglyphic and it comes to life through the Nakudos. And honestly, the most touching thing to me about watching that back, and you guys should go back and watch this again just for this, is that you could see his hand moving in the background, the shadow of his hand moving, of Rabbi Yirah's hand, and how gentle his hand is when he's explaining something. And you see him pulling it from his mind like this with his hand. And when someone is having a memory or pulling something from their own original da'as, from their own original mind, he got the download. It's all in here for him. He's pulling it out with his hand. You see him explaining it with his long fingers. and it's just more like body language proof for me. Hashem speaks to me through body language and signs and timing, and I understood from the way he explained it with his hand that this is his information. This is his proprietary information that he's giving the world. Yeah. Look at his hand. Go back. It's worth it. Oh, goodness. I'm going out of order here. I'm confusing myself. Hold on one second. What else did I want to tell you guys about the letters? I think that's it. Let's go straight into Torah Social Mashiach. We're going to do a small chapter today. I'm going to go into Rabbi Gozlan, and then we're going to read Chanoch. Screen share, Google Drive, share. Make that bigger. All right, let's see. Okay. We will start out with Rabbeinu Yirah's declaration of world peace, which is the vessel for all the blessings we are about to receive. It is in such a time as this that such light has risen in the world. It is time to bring forth world peace and to reveal the infinite and the garment of God. Tikkun ha'olam, repair of the world. The infinite Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu clothed himself in information. He lived with these letters for 2,000 years. They're his best friends, these letters. This information is called the Holy Tongue, the Lashon HaKodesh. As with all languages, it is a composition of letters. And so by means of these letters, we may behold the garment of Hashem. And with it, behold infinity. We will begin with the mother letters that Avraham Avinu gave us in the SEFER Yirah. Shin, from the word Eish, fire. Aleph, from the word Avir, air. Mem, from the word Mayim, water. Mem, Sophis, from the word Adama, earth. The first key that Rabbi Yirah gave us to open the door and walk in to Geula is Aleph separates Mem from Shin. This is how the letters relate to each other. The air separates the light from liquids and solids. We decode reality with this first key. We decode each other's faces. We decode the planets and the atoms. Everything gets decoded with this one principle of the Aleph Beis. Carefully take a moment to view this key. May we bring forth world peace. Amen. May we end hatred. Amen. May we end division. Amen. May we be united. Let's jump down to our chapter. Page, gate 8, page 68. Shar Ches, gate 8, the 7 eyes of the Lord. Torah Social Mashiach, let us begin. The 7 spheros of Yetzirah are collectively called Zeir Anpin. This is basic Kabbalah 101. You need to understand that Yetzirah is the same thing. Those 7 spheros from Chesed down to Yesod are called by this name Zeir Anpin, which is known as a Partsuf. These 7 forms, as we have described up to this point, are the eyes by which reality is perceived. Collectively, they are called the 7 eyes of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, the tetragram name. The Zohar says in the Yirah Rabbah, book 17, section Naso, the eyes of Zeir Anpin. And there is your Aramaic, 209. From these colors emanate 7 eyes of supervision. They emerge from the black of the eye. This is what is written upon one stone are 7 eyes. Zechariah 3:9. What is the meaning of one stone, says the Zohar? One stone is the blackness of the eye. Commentary. Those colors are 7 in number, like the 7 spheros. Each one of the spheros is corresponding to a color. Those colors are 7 in number, which refer to the rainbow, which is seen in heaven, also known as Zeir Anpin, which is Yetzirah. Those are all interchangeable, in that each sphera is attributed to a color. The black in the eye refers to Bina, also known as the hard spark. When you hear hard spark, think Bina. Called the black of the eye, think black of the eye. An example, Keser, the surrounding white of your eye, and the secret of the endless Chachma. So the white of your eye is the endless Chachma, which is the Tzimtzum, and the color of the eye, and the hard spark in the center being the black of the eye. 231 gates which emanate these 7. So from Bina emanate these 7 spheros underneath Bina. Bina is number 8. The 7 are underneath that. Thus, it states upon one stone are 7 eyes. As it is known, the hard spark emanates the 7 kings, with 7 spheros, which are the roots of the matter. It further clarifies this with the closing statement. What is the meaning of one stone? So one stone, you guys, is the blackness of the eye, is the hard spark, is Bina. So here are the colors of our spheros. Chesed is blue. Gevura is red. Tiferes is yellow. Netzach is green. Hod is orange. Yesod is black. And Malchus is colorless. And here we have them laid out, the blue, the red, the yellow, the green, the orange, the black. This is your tree of life. And this is where we are, the colorless sphere of Malchus, the Olam Asiyah. The Zohar continues to describe the evil inclination and good inclination in the following verses. First is the evil inclination, 2:10. From the red in the eye, oh, I just realized that's why people wear that red bendel probably, the red bracelet. From the red in the eye emerge 7 runners that support the left side and glow in the fire of the north side. They are attached to the red color in order to expand in the world to reveal the ways of the wicked. This is what is written, those 7, the eyes of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, they rove to and fro through the whole earth. Red here refers to Gevura and the desire body. Here we see it is written, the eyes, plural. When you see the word eyes in plural, always referring to these 7 eyes. And this is because it was stated upon one stone, the pupil, the black of the eye, were 7 eyes. Eyes, plural, always alludes to 7. And remember this principle as it will be touched on later on. Open my eyes, 7 forms. And in another place, his eyes, 7 forms again were opened. This is associated also with the Satan, who is called the evil inclination, and it was stated in Job in regards to his function. Satan said, to and fro, there's the same language, to and fro through the whole earth. This is the same as it is stated here, those 7, the eyes of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, they rove to and fro. So there's the hint in the wording that those 7 can refer to Satan as well. This is because the evil inclination, Satan, are those 7 eyes, the backside of those 7 eyes. Those 7 forms, when they draw from the left side or draw from the evil inclination, as we spoke about last week. If you remember, you guys, we spoke about how all the Yitziros have a good side and a bad and an evil side. Gevura is the secret of the north. The north is also known as the angel Samael and is located here in the north, who is the angel of Esav, Gevura. These eyes are the collection of negative experiences through which these 7 forms experience life through the lens of the negative. And this is huge, guys. This language it changed my life. This specifically, these words here in the next sentence, the collective sum of experience, okay? When you have experienced a lot of hard things in your life, you're going to view life through the dark side. And the work of life is to not do that, not to do that. The collective sum of experience, which the serpent this is the serpent that Samael, i.e. negativity, rides on. He depends on us viewing life through a negative sum of experiences. And when you overcome that, you get off that serpent. You can dismount from that ride. The good inclination, let's switch gears, is now described in the following verse. 2:11. From the green emerged 7 lights that circle to the south side. They attach themselves to spread in the world and discover the ways and deeds of the people, either for good or for bad, as it is written, for his eyes are upon the ways of man. Commentary. From the green refers to the sphere of Netzach and the soul form. Afterwards, it mentions these 7 lights circle the south side. It is known south is the sphere of Chesed. North was Gevura, south is Chesed. These refer to the spirit form and the soul form, which are nourished from the side of holiness. That is the good inclination as opposed to the evil inclination. They're nourished from the right half of the tree of life, the good half. These 7 lights are the varying good experiences that we have had. For example, the lights among the darkness, the good that you've had in your life. Here, the good inclination is personified as light. Light, which is a giving force, in that it provides light, as opposed to the 7 eyes which receive and then conceal the light. With this, we can understand how the evil inclination conceals the light and the good inclination reveals the light. We can also see the proper use of the forms to either use your sum of experiences to view reality through the lens of light or the lens of darkness. The proper use of the forms is always to give light. If you're not giving light, you are not using your forms properly. Ooh, that is amazing. That is an amazing axiom to live by. And that ends the reading for today from the Torah Shel Mashiach, and we'll pick up here next week. Now let us go to... Thank you for saying hit the like button, Irma. I appreciate that. I always forget. Let's go to Rabbi Gozlan. Rabbi Gozlan, somebody asks him, how will Mashiach bring all the Jews in the world into the land of Israel? How on earth is he going to do that? And this is where we get off of our harsh, 3-dimensional, rigid way of thinking of everything. Rabbi Gozlan answers, we must first define what we are talking about, he said, bringing all the people into the land of Israel. He said, Israel is a spiritual concept as well as a land and a country. As is the concept of Yashar El, Rabbi Gozlan taught us over and over, who is a Jew? The new definition in town. Who is a Jew? When people come at me about this and that about Rabbi Yirah, who is a Jew? They don't know if they don't have Zohar that a Jew is Yashar El, someone who goes direct to God. This is what's called a Jew by the definition of the Zohar. Rabbi Gozlan continues, Rosh Li is also Yisrael, my head, alluding to a very high spiritual level, Rosh Li. So bringing all Jews to Israel means raising the Jewish people to a high spiritual level. That's what it means to bring all the Jews into Israel. Rabbi Gozlan says, do you get that? Do you get that? When several people meditate on Yichudim, the braided names of God, they find themselves in the same spiritual place with each other, not a physical space. This spiritual space is called Israel, is called Yashar El, is called Rosh Li, which is a meeting point between people who meditate with a high spiritual level. So the mission of Mashiach is to raise the people to this high spiritual level. There are people living in the country of Israel who are not the Yashar El, and vice versa. There are people who are Yashar El who are not living in the country called Israel. It is not about filling airplanes with thousands of people, says Rabbi Gozlan. It is about raising the level of people so that when we do get to the land won't vomit us out. The body must be in harmony with the soul. Let's go to Chanoch. I'm going to read it in English first. Actually, let's read it in Hebrew first. Okay. Perek Mem Aleph Sefer Chanoch that I got on Etsy a few months ago. I scored this book. Amar Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yishmael said, Amar li metat. Ba ure'eh. Osios shenivru bahem shamayim va'aretz. Osios shenivru bahem yamim unaharos. Osios shenivru bahem harim ugavaos. Osios shenivru bahem eitzim ve'asavim. Osios shenivru bahem kochavim umazolos. Osios shenivru bahem ofen halavana v'galgal hachama v'chasil v'chema v'chol minim ma'oros rakia. Osios shenivru bahem kisei hakavod v'galgal hamerkava. Osios shenivru bahem tzarchei olamim. Osios shenivru bahem chachma uvina v'da'as v'haskel anava v'yashros. Shebein miskaimin ha'olam kulo v'halachti etzlo v'tif sheni b'yadi v'ha'alni b'kanfav v'har'eni es ofen ha'osios kulam shehem chakukos be'et shalhevet al kisei hakavod uzekikun yotzim mehen umachasim es kulam dare aravos. Let's go to the English. Chapter 41. And I read in the commentary below that this chapter This chapter marks the beginning of a new section, distinguished from the rest of the book by the setting in which the revelations of the heavenly mysteries are here framed. Whereas, according to the preceding chapters, the various celestial facts are presented as orally transmitted. He spoke them. Metat spoke them to Rabbi Ishmael. The various wonders of heaven are, according to this section, actually shown, not just orally spoken, but shown to Rabbi Ishmael. Just like they were shown to Rabbeinu Yirah when he fell down in the desert, and Hashem took him in a dream to show him also. Oh, that's what I wanted to read to you guys. I asked Rabbi Yirah, thank you Hashem that this came back to me. I said, I want to be clear when I teach this. Let me just bring it up on my phone. I said, how did these letters come to you? I said, I don't want to say this wrong or incorrectly. He answered me. I said, my question for you is this. How did the information for the crown jewel come to you? And the placement of the letters, how did these two things come to you? He answered me. I was taken up by the Holy One in the cloud of darkness and shown all the permutations. Okay, he told me. He told me how it happened. And this is why we needed to read Chanoch. This is why Q told us to read Chanoch. Because the same thing that happened to Rabbi Ishmael happened to Yirah. He was shown. Because in this verse, in this chapter, it says, and I walked side by side and he took me by his hand. Okay, let's read it in the English. Chapter 31. Metatron shows Rabbi Ishmael the letters engraved on the throne of glory, by which letters everything in heaven and earth has been created. This is the chapter where he's shown the letters. But he wasn't shown how they interrelate to each other. This information was saved for Rabbi Yirah to give us. How they relate to each other on that crown jewel. And how they bring meaning to each other. And how all the languages funnel into that one language of Lashon HaKodesh. Rabbi Ishmael said, Metatron, the angel, the prince of presence, said to me, that's for you, Irma, come and behold the letters by which heaven and earth were created, the letters by which were created the mountains and hills, the letters by which were created the seas and rivers, the letters by which were created the trees and herbs, the letters by which were created the planets and the constellations, the letters by which were created the globe of the moon and the globe of the sun, Orion, the Pleiades, and all the different luminaries of Rakia, the letters by which were created the Kisei HaKavod and the wheels of the Merkava, the throne of glory and the wheels of the Merkava, the letters by which were created the necessities of the worlds, the letters by which were created wisdom, understanding, knowledge, prudence, meekness, and righteousness, by which the whole world is sustained. And as I walked by his side, says Rabbi Ishmael, Metat took me by his hand and raised me on his wings and showed me those letters, all of them, that are graven with a flaming style on the throne of glory. And sparks go forth from them, they spark, and cover all the chambers of Aravos. So if you think Hashem isn't going to bring Geula and Mashiach through these same letters that kept him company for 2,000 years, you're wrong. I just want to say thank you guys for being here with me this morning. And I want to thank Hashem for opening my heart and mind to the Zohar, which is the heart and soul of Hashem. The written Torah is the guf, is the body of Hashem, but the guf comes to life in the soul, in the oral Torah, in the sod. In the sod. That's for you, Darren, if you're out there. In the sod of Torah is where you fall in love with Hashem. It's endless. It's endless. And as great as my day was yesterday with my family and my son, and the simcha of seeing him find his soulmate, the woman he loves, Hashem put the icing on my day, that I had the zechus to end my day reading Zohar together with Aleph. We volleyed back and forth. And it was so fun, and it was so amazing. And the kind of joy that you get from the Zohar is indescribable. It's a closeness to Hashem that learning Torah without it cannot give you. It's the secrets. Hashem whispers the secrets. And when I saw the moment that my son got engaged, the moment that I saw in the video that I loved the most was when they whispered to each other. After she said yes, they whispered to each other. Which is such a sign of intimacy and real connection. And the Zohar is where you hear Hashem whispering to you. Being playful, being mysterious. And then I ended my day with Rose. Right before I went to bed, we had such a meaningful conversation with each other. And she helps me fill in the grid before our lives intersected. She gives me this precious information of just how much they toiled to bring this information to the world. And they continue to toil. But it's part of what's been written, as Rabbi Yirah himself would say. It's just the fulfillment of Torah and prophecy. And I also understood that Hashem is having them toil so hard so that when the time comes that they are king and queen of the world, this time of pain, aching, lack, anguish, rejection, bitter rejection, mockery, questioning, humiliation, degradation, is so ground into their souls that they'll never have a problem with humility. They'll never have a problem with remembering where they came from. Because they are paying still a heavy price. Physically, spiritually, psychologically. And what an honor we have in the small group to do whatever we can to support them in any way we can. Because friendship to them in a time like this, loyalty to them in a time like this, is the highest way we can support Hashem. Forget supporting them. We support Hashem's vision for the culmination of this story. And what greater gift Hashem, what greater honor could Hashem put in our hands and in our lap for this time? To support the person that Hashem chose to carry out this mission. Thank you, Hashem. Sydney said it with me. Thank you, Hashem. Let me just run through these comments. Thank you guys for being here. I saw Aleph was here. Thank you for coming, Aleph. Gib, Susan, each one of you is so precious. Thank you. Joey, Shauna, don't worry, we are here with you. Beautiful. May we see the onset of phase 3 this week, today, tomorrow. May we see Hashem accelerate Geula in the most glorious way possible for the highest honor, for all of your glory, Hashem. We're waiting. We're here and we're ready and we're holding it down. We're supporting the infrastructure. We got this. Mwah. Love you guys, and I'll see you again on Thursday.